Welcome to yoga class today. We're going to be doing a core focused practice, and it's going to be a little bit more of a challenging class today. I will be giving options that you can modify as needed, but know that this is a practice that we're going to work a little bit. We are talking about our core, so some of us dread that word when we are doing a core practice, but it's something that's really important, especially in this time where we're doing a lot of sitting and slumping. These muscles, are kind of getting used to being in this position. And what we're going to try and do today is work on the deepest core muscles that help us to support and stabilize our spine. Also, these are muscles that assist us with our breathing. So we're oftentimes, when we think about core, the first thing that comes to mind are these like six-pack looking muscles that are very superficial. So they're on the outside. The outermost layer of our core muscles would be our rectus abdominis. And the rectus abdominis is responsible for that kind of flexing the spine, creating that six-pack look if we have very low body fat. Right? If we don't have really low body fat, we're not going to be able to achieve that anyway. So knowing that that's very superficial, right, we can get that look, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we are internally strong and stable. So underneath that rectus abdominis, we have the internal and external obliques. So they go in cross patterns underneath the rectus abdominis, and then deeper still would be our transverse abdominis. And the transverse abdominis is that deepest core muscle that helps to stabilize, support our spine. So we're going to be working initially on a very subtle level so that we can get familiar with this particular muscle. It's kind of like a corset that wraps around and kind of draws inward, right? And also connects from our pelvic bone up to our sternum. So we're going to be talking about actions that help strengthen this whole area. We're going to start on our backs in a moment in constructive rest. If you have any props, we might benefit from having a block today. If you don't have blocks, we could also use like a squishy ball, because we're going to squeeze it between our knees to help activate those muscles. And then we're also going to use a tool for seeing if we're doing things right. So I have a little eye pillow. We're just going to place that on our belly just to see the rise and fall. It doesn't have to be an eye pillow. You can also use your yoga strap here across your belly. So that's another option. It won't be a very prop heavy practice. Mostly going to be using our bodies, but having a block would probably be the most important thing if you have that available. Okay, so we're going to come onto our backs. And initially, if you'd like to have a blanket on your head, that would be fine. Not necessary, but might be helpful for some of us. Constructive rest. Our feet are going to be as wide as the mat, and then we're letting the knees drop into the center. And then we're just going to come here and take a few moments to settle into our practice. So we'll bring hands on the belly here. And just starting to breathe in and out through your nose if you can. Letting your lower back relax here. So constructive rest is also a pose that relaxes our psoas muscle. We did a class on this a little while ago, so you might have taken that, you might remember some of that information. But when our transverse abdominis is weak, the psoas kind of takes over in a way. It needs to help stabilize us. But when our transverse abdominis is strong, our psoas doesn't get so exhausted, right? It's not trying to do two jobs at one time. So it's important to get this transverse abdominis really strong to support our spine, and then we'll have a little bit more ease in our area of our lower back. So when the psoas is doing the job of the transverse abdominis, it tends to tip our pelvis. And you're going to see this a lot today when we try to do different exercises. If your back lifts off the ground and you arch a lot, you're going to probably feel strain here in your lower back. So what I'm asking for you to do is kind of keep your back ribs really planted on the ground and not let that low back arch a lot. Okay, so we're trying to maintain that as much as we can. So we'll take a few more moments here. We're going to now take our hands in a triangle shape. Connect your thumbs and connect your index fingers and place it right like your thumbs are around your navel or both slightly below. And I want you to get a sense that these hands are very level, right? They're not tipping up or tipping down. We're very level in our pelvis here. All right, we're going to now separate the knees and stay with that feeling of neutrality. So we might need to take a moment and scoot the tailbone forward to create more length in our lower back. Now, take an inhale. Exhale completely. And now on your next exhale, we're going to make a coughing sound, like a and when you cough, you're going to feel that muscle kind of pop out in your low belly. And that's the area that we're kind of targeting. So take an inhale, exhale, cough. And then when you cough, you feel this area engage. Now I want you to try and keep it engaged, keep that neutrality, and try to breathe. Not so easy, but it can be done. So feel those coughing muscles stay engaged as you try to take an inhale and an exhale. Do that a few more rounds. Now we're going to try and think about our two pelvic bones. So find those with your fingers now. Those two frontal top of your pelvis, sometimes called hip points or pelvic points. We're going to imagine that there's a string between those 2 points, and that string is drawing inward so that you feel like those 2 points are drawing closer towards each other. And you can even use your hands initially to give a gentle drawing of those bones towards each other. Now don't push, don't be aggressive, but a guiding of those bones towards each other can help us keep the pit of the abdomen engaged. We're going to try and stay with that engagement, hugging those bones towards each other, but now zippering up also from your pubic bone up towards your navel. So we're drawing across horizontally, we're drawing vertically, and now imagine that there are strings all around the sides of your torso, making a circle, and all those strings are pulling towards your navel from the sides, from the top to bottom, on diagonals. We're drawing everything toward our navel center, and then we should feel very stable here, very strong. We're going to keep that, and we're going to keep breathing, and we're going to start to lift one foot up off the ground and tap it down, and then the other foot up off the ground. Now we're just going to simply march in place a few times, trying to stay as stable as we can. So we're starting out like super subtle, and we're going to gradually make this more challenging, but already noticing that those muscles help stabilize our spine. So the more we are wobbling here, that means that we're not quite so engaged in that transverse abdominis. So we want to keep that engagement so that we're not doing too much of a wobble. And we're going to see how this can be helpful in poses like balancing tabletop and plank pose. Good, now stay with that, but now take the leg out straight and back. Keep engaging. All right, now if that is going well for you, let's do one more cycle. Hugging in all directions. We're going to now pick the feet up off the floor. So now this is going to be more challenging. We're going to try and keep over the hips. So if they're too far forward, we're going to overarch the back. And if they're too far in, we're going to round the back. So we're going to try and stay neutral. And we're going to draw those bones towards each other. Stay connected to your core. And now tap down. One foot, and then the other. Trying to keep those coughing muscles engaged in the very low belly, but also drawing in all directions, which helps keep our back safe, keep our spine stable. Now, if this is going well, we're going to start to straighten the legs, just like we did before. So now, take a leg out straight, and bring it in, and take a leg out straight, and bring it in. Do that a few more times, extending just as far as you can. You can also just stick with the toe taps and not straighten the leg. One more time. Keep engaging. And now release and rest. And just breathe into that low belly now. Just let it soften. So although we want this strength, my philosophy as far as yoga goes is there's a time for strength and stability and engagement, and there's also a time for releasing and softening. So we need that balance. We don't want to overgrip. So breathe now into that lower belly. You could even windshield wiper your legs a bit to release. Okay. So now we're going to grab the block and whatever prop you're going to use. So I'm going to put the block in between my thighs, and then I'm going to put this little eye bag below my navel. And if you don't have an eye bag, no worries. You can use a little pillow, just so it's very small, like an eyeglass case, or your yoga belt could work here as well. So now we're going to take an inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to squeeze the block and try to draw the abdomen back so that this doesn't pop up. So we don't want to see this pop up away from the floor. We want the abdomen to release down. And then we'll do that for a few breaths. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block, narrow your hip points, and pull the low belly away from the prop. And then do that 2 more times. So I'm going to probably refresh my notes a bit today because some of this stuff is very specific and I want to make sure I don't miss anything really important. So do that again 1 more time. All right. We're going to release that block. We're going to come back to that later. And then move that little prop off to the side as well. So I just wanted you to get the feeling of keeping this drawing down rather than popping up. Okay? So now we're going to take the legs out. And you might notice when you take your legs out, if you look up, your feet might flop open. Okay? So we're going to try and keep those feet more neutral by engaging this transverse abdominis. So rather than adjust your legs, let's take an inhale. Exhale, draw those bones towards each other, lift through the pelvic floor, and keep hollowing out the pit of the abdomen. Those legs start to come back to neutral all on their own. You can also peek and see if you can align them now if they haven't fully aligned back to neutral. So toes pointing up, kneecaps pointing up, tailbone is lengthening, and we're drawing all of these points toward our navel center. Okay, now staying here, inhale. And as you exhale, try to pick your legs off the floor without lifting them. So this is isometric. And see if you can keep that place where we had that prop, keep it down. Try not to let it pop up and then relax, right? So this is such a small movement, but really effective, and hopefully you're feeling it. So inhale, keep your legs neutral. As you exhale, try to pick your legs up without lifting them. Hug in, keep that low belly drawing down toward the floor. And then release. And we're gonna add on to that movement. So here's where I might take my blanket out, because I'm gonna put my right hand behind the back of my head. All right, now left hand's gonna be at my side. I'm gonna take an inhale. And as I exhale, I'm going to try and lift my left leg off the floor. Keep that low belly from popping. And I'm going to lift my head, chest, and shoulders with this hand behind the back of my head. Don't let that area pop up. And then release. We're going to add on to that. So now, we're going to come up, we're going to hold it, and we're trying to come up a little bit farther. But I want you to notice if your body wobbles side to side, and we're going to try and do a little trick to help stabilize that. So with my left hand, I'm going to pull toward the left isometrically. So try that a moment before we do the exercise. Press down through your left hand, pull it toward the left, and just kind of notice what that feels like. Okay, we're going to be doing that with this exercise. Okay, take an inhale. Exhale, try to lift your legs, but don't. Keep that low belly down, hip points hugging in, and now lift your left leg. Inhale. Exhale, lift your shoulders, your head, stay low. And now pull your left hand toward the left. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift a little higher. Try not to wobble. Draw that low belly point down. And release. Hold there for a moment. We're going to do it one more time, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, inhale. Exhale, try to lift your legs. Keep that low belly in. Squeeze toward the navel. And then lift your left leg just 1 inch. Keep it as low as you can. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Pull your left hand toward the left on the floor. Inhale. Exhale, lift a little higher. Try to get that low belly down. And release. And breathe. Now let's try that on the other side. So now left hand behind the back of the head. Inhale. Exhale, try to lift your legs. Hollow the belly, draw toward the midline. And then lift your right leg just 1 inch. Inhale. Exhale, lift, stay low. Pull the right hand toward the right. Inhale. Exhale, lift a little higher. Pull the right hand toward the right. Keep that belly from popping. And then release. Breathe and let it go. We're going to do it one more time. All right, inhale, exhale, try to lift your legs, but don't. Inhale, exhale, lift that right leg just 1 inch. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Pull the right hand toward the right. That'll help engage the side body. Inhale. Exhale, lift a little higher. Keep pulling that hand. Hollow the belly. And release. Rest down for a moment and breathe. All right, bend both knees, both hands behind the back of your head. Bring the knees over the hips. Keep that low belly down. Hug those hip points towards each other. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift your right elbow. Then you're going to straighten your right leg, coming into a side crunch. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, other side. Now try not to let that belly pop up. Engage right between those pelvic bones. As you inhale, we've got to release it a little bit. So we're not going to hold it on the inhale. This is very mindful, slow movement with the core here. One more. Good, and then release. Breathe into your lower belly. Relax it for a moment. All right. So, doing another exercise now. This is called the hollow belly series. So it's gonna be a little challenging. I want you to stop when it feels appropriate for you, and don't feel like you've got to do the entire exercise. It's pretty challenging. The most important thing is to stay safe in your body, protect your lower back, okay? So I'm going to start with my knees over my hips. I'm going to reach my arms forward. I'm going to take an inhale, and as I exhale, I'm going to lift my shoulders off the floor. Pull the arms forward. Now keep that low back on the floor now. Keep your back ribs on the floor. So your back is completely flat against the floor. Hold here, another breath. Lift those shoulders a little higher. Pull the belly down. And release. All right. That might be hard enough. If it is, you're going to stick with that. The goals are to keep the low back flat for this exercise. A lot of times in yoga, we're looking for a little curve in the low back, but this is like that hollow belly thing. So we're going to keep the low back and the back ribs really grounded. Eventually, we're going to try and straighten the legs, and we might even straighten the arms. So we're going to do this in stages. You might stay with what we just did, okay? So knees over the hips. Flatten your back to the floor. Really engage all those muscles toward your navel, the low belly muscles. Lift your head, chest, and shoulders. Reach your arms forward. So shoulders are away from the ears. Pull the belly down. And now maybe straighten those legs any amount. Now if my back lifts up, I've gone too far. So I'm going to pull the belly down. I might be able to lower the legs more if I don't arch into that low back. Now from here, I could take the arms. My low back is still flat. I'm trying to keep that belly down. It's hard to talk while I'm doing this. And then release when you're ready. All right, breathe into that low belly again. Let it all out. All right, we're going to roll over to our side, and we're going to come up into tabletop pose, all fours. All right. So find your way into tabletop pose. Just getting my notes here. So setting up on all fours, adjust my mat. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. So here's where, we might dip into our belly, but I'm going to try not to do that. Using all those same actions we just learned, we're going to take an inhale. Exhale, push into the floor in the shins. Draw those hip points towards each other. Draw all of those lines toward my navel. That's pretty powerful. Stay with that for another breath. Inhale, we release it a little bit, and then exhale, we re-engage. All right. Now just sit back a moment. Take a break off your hands, maybe roll them around a moment into your wrists. We're going to come back to that and work on, we're going to do cat-cow first and then balancing table, but using all of the things we just learned to maintain stability in our core. All right, so from here, take an inhale. Exhale before you move. Engage those muscles. Hollow the low belly. Draw those hip points towards each other, like you have a string between those two bones. Good. Now inhale, keep as much of the tone as you can. Lift your chest, lift your sit bones, broaden across your chest. And now exhale, round, squeeze, keep hollowing that belly. Push into the floor, spread your shoulder blades. Push into your feet and your shins. Now continue, inhale. Exhale, start by hollowing the belly, pulling those hip points in, round. Now on your own, go ahead and do a few more rounds and just noticing how much more powerful doing this cat-cow is with these engagements in our core muscles, right? So we can do this exercise without thinking about those core muscles so much. It's a completely different exercise. All right, last round, inhale and exhale, and then we'll meet in child's pose for a little break. You can widen your knees and maybe either stack your hands under your forehead or reach your arms forward. Any variation you like for your child's pose. And let's take about 3 more breaths there. Just relax your belly in that child's pose for a moment. All right, 1 more breath cycle here. And then we're going to come back into our table. Now, if your wrists start to bother you in your table, feel free to make yourself a little cushion. So you could roll over your mat and give yourself a cushion for your wrists. So that's optional if that would feel good for you. Okay? Inhale, exhale, engage your core muscles. Hollow the low belly. Keep that, feel that opening in your low back. And now take your right leg straight back, toes on the floor. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, belly lifts, squeeze. And now we're gonna lift the leg up off the floor from the glute and the hamstring. Stay as neutral as you can with your hips. Draw those hip bones in, and then opposite arm can reach forward. Now what I don't wanna do is wobble too much. I wanna be stable. So stabilize. If I pull my right hand toward the right a little bit, that helps me stabilize. It helps engage that right outer arm. And then release. Take a breath. And then let's try the other side. So left leg back, inhale, exhale, engage your core muscles. And then lift that leg from your glute and your hamstring. That should be engaged. Stay level. And then reach the opposite arm forward. Pull your left hand toward the left a little bit. Make your arm and leg solid, the ones in the air. Squeeze the belly. And release. All right, let your hips rock side to side. Maybe circle your hips out a little bit. Go the other direction. All right. So from here, we're going to try a plank pose. So plank pose, we're going to do the stabilization first before we step into our plank. So take an inhale. Exhale, engage your muscles. Low belly lifts, hollow it out. And then we're going to take that right leg back. Stay there, take an inhale. Exhale, hug your inner thighs towards each other. Hollow the belly and then step the other foot back. Now you should be really stable in your core. Hold here another breath. Draw that low belly in, lengthen through your tail, through the crown of your head. You can always drop knees. Last breath. And then everyone, knees down, slide back towards your child's pose. So now we're going to take it to a downward facing dog. In our downward facing dog, we're going to hug the legs towards each other, and that'll help us engage our belly. And then we're going to move from dog to plank a few times, okay? So from tabletop, we want to take the hands forward a few inches. Maybe like 4 inches or so. Turn the hands out just a hair. We don't want the hands turned in. Turning out is helpful for the shoulders a bit. Tuck your toes down dog. Now, feet are about hips distance apart. We're going to just take a quick movement to plank. So we need to adjust our dog so that shoulders are over wrist, heels over balls of feet, then come back. All right, we're going to bend the knees here a little bit, firm the arms. Now without bringing your legs closer, this is isometric. Pull your inner thighs towards each other and hollow your belly. Inhale, relax. Exhale, legs hug in, low belly lifts. This time move into a plank. And back to a dog, bending in your knees. Inhale. Exhale, hug the legs towards each other, low belly lifts. Come into a plank. One more time, back. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze the legs, hollow the belly, come into a plank. And this time, option to drop knees, we're going to lower all the way down to the floor. Hands by your lower chest, shoulders back. Inhale, cobra. Let's do 2 more cobras. Nice stretch for that low belly area. Think about your legs reaching back, and then pull back with your hands. So you feel a lengthening on the front of your spine. One more time. Good, and then we're going to release back to our downward facing dog. You can always go to knees first as a modification, and then lift up. Okay, inhale, exhale, engage those muscles. And then next inhale, lift your right leg straight up. We're going to take an inhale, exhale, hug the inner thighs, and then step forward into a lunge. Now from here, we're going to bring the hands up onto the thigh. Put a little bend in your back knee, come up to vertical. Now staying here, inhale, exhale, draw in all of these muscles from the sides, top and bottom, diagonals towards your navel. Arms reach up. Hold here. Try to draw your tailbone down. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to come forward part way. So we're on an angle. Stay here. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze into your belly. Pretend you're holding a big ball in between your hands. And now we're going to pulse the heel. So pulse forward and back. Forward and back, and try not to wobble. Stay on the midline. One more. Good, now bend a little bit into that back knee. Come back up to vertical. Stay stable. Arms in front of you, bend your elbows like you're holding a big ball. Draw in all those muscles. Inhale, exhale, turn to your right. Holding that ball, keeping the belly in, and now repeat. Inhale, back to start. Exhale, turn. One more time, inhale. Exhale, turn, now hold it there. Keep lifting your chest. Good, and now release. Take the arms up. Hold your left wrist. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, side bend to the right. See if you can keep some of that tone in the low belly to help stabilize. Good. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Now if you wish, take a vinyasa here, coming forward into plank, lowering down. I'm going to open my window. Getting warm. Earlier there was a farmer plowing and I couldn't open the window, but now I can. So we're going to meet back in our downward facing dog. And we'll do side 2. Inhale here. Exhale, hollow the belly. Squeeze in. Next inhale, left leg up. Step through to that lunge. Little bend in the back knee. Come up as you're ready. Good. Tone the abs abdomen, hug in. Inhale the arms up. Hold here for a breath. Feel that core activation. Now we're going to inhale, exhale, come forward on an angle. Holding that big ball, pulsing the heel forward and back. One more. Good, and now we're going to come up, putting that little bend in the knee again, and then bring the hands in front of you. Holding that big ball, pull the tailbone down, lift and hollow the belly. Inhale, exhale, turn to your left. And repeat. Inhale, back to start. Exhale, turn. One more time. Inhale, exhale, turn. Hold it now in the pose. Keep breathing. And then we'll come back through center. Take the arms up, hold your right wrist, lengthen. And then we'll side bend. Keep the hips hugging in. We're going to engage this right hip, right glute muscle. Engage the little belly. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down, step back. Optional vinyasa here. You might lower to a cobra or lower halfway to chaturanga, shift into up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. All right, let's bring the knees down, take a little break, take a child's pose. So building in some nice rest for our core muscles. Breathe into that belly, one more breath. All right, so we're going to try a one-armed plank, so this could be really challenging. If it's too much, you're going to stick with a regular plank. You're still going to be able to work. We're going to start with the knees down. Walk them back a little bit though. So we have like a long tabletop pose. Inhale, exhale, draw in through those belly muscles. Squeeze the arms towards each other. And now come onto your right finger tops. And if it's okay for you, lift that arm up. And then try the other side. Try not to wobble too much. Hand comes out. And then lift that hand up. And release. Okay, so you could always repeat that. Or we're going to try it in a full plank, but it's going to be a wide plank. So the hands are normal, shoulders distance. The feet are going to be wide for stability. All right? Now, from here, take an inhale. Exhale, engage towards center. Come on your right finger tops. That might be it. Maybe lift. Release. Try not to wobble. Stay centered. Come onto your left finger tops. I like to claw the floor with my right hand and then lift up. Release. Knees down. Take your child's pose. All right, from here we're going to come forward onto the belly. We're going to do some dolphin plank poses. So we'll start out in my favorite pose, Sphinx pose. At least currently my favorite pose. We're going to have elbows aligned with your shoulders, wrists aligned with your elbows. Press down into your hands and then pull belly, chest, head forward. Press down strongly into your arms. Good. Okay, now from here, clasp your hands. Tuck the pinky in so that you feel like you're really right on the ground. Root down into your arms, lift your chest, pull your shoulders back, pull your belly forward. So in a moment, we're going to be doing the opposite. So right now, we're kind of stretching the belly, but we're going to engage those muscles again in a moment. Okay. Tuck your toes under now and come to your knees. So stage one, we're going to be on our knees. Push down into your arms. Engage those muscles. And now pull your arms and your knees towards each other without rounding your back. Push down, pull in. All right, release. Coming back to your Sphinx with the class. Now you can repeat that with knees down. Or we're gonna lift the knees up, coming into a full dolphin plank. And we're going to do that pulling of the arms and the legs towards, or the toes towards each other to fire up the core. All right. Tuck the toes, press into your arms. Start on the knees. Lift the knees if you're going to lift the knees. Now make sure we're not piped up like a down dog. You want to be nice and low. Hollow the belly, lengthen the tail. And now push down into your arms, pull arms and toes towards each other. Keep the belly drawing in. Then release. All right, come back to a regular Sphinx. Press down, pull forward. And then now from here, press in your hands and lift up. And then arms down, reach forward. Good. Do that again, lift up. And release. Pull with your hands, stretch the belly. Now, starting to lift. Pelvis, hips, thighs. Stay here, knees down. Tuck your tailbone, pull your arms and legs towards each other. And release. Coming back down. And now pull forward. And then lift up. Just a little break. And then come down and rest. Give your hips a little wiggle side to side. Maybe windshield wipers. And then we're going to press into tabletop pose again. And we'll come around into reverse tabletop pose. So I will face you. You can stay facing the same direction. Okay. Feet are going to come in front of you. Hands are alongside wherever they're comfortable. Before we do any lifting of the hips, first lift your chest. Hug your arm bones a little bit back. Keep your chest lifted. And now just pull your feet towards you. And feel that work in the backs of the legs. Now we're going to repeat that with the hips up off the ground. We're going to try and stay with that core engagement, zippering up the low belly. Like you're trying to put on a tight pair of pants. That's what we want it to feel like, the belly drawing back. All right, inhale, lift up. Try to get your hips as high as your knees. Zipper the low belly, engage your glutes. And then inhale, exhale, pull the feet towards you as you lift the hips and hollow the belly. And release. Good, take a breath here. Now we're going to do that again. On your inhales, we're thinking about opening the chest. And as we exhale, we're pulling the feet toward the hands and trying to keep that belly from popping up, okay? So let's try again. Inhale, lift the hips up. I'm going to go sideways this time, a better view, okay? Lift the hips up, up, up. Try not to pop the belly. So it's my habit too. Keep the belly down. All right, inhale, open the chest. Exhale, pull the feet towards you. Stretch the legs out for a moment. Take a breath here. Okay, so we're going to take a couple rounds of bridge pose and supported bridge to kind of stretch out the belly and the hip flexors a bit now. So go ahead and grab one block. And let's just do a supported first, and then we'll make it active again. So lift your hips, slide your block underneath the back of your pelvis. Could be setting 1, could be setting 2, depending on your body. But lengthen the tailbone. So I like to tuck into my feet and scoot my tailbone forward. So the low back is lengthened. Breathing here. Now, if it feels comfortable for you, take your right leg and stretch it out. And then we start to open up this area that we worked so hard. Now, if that feels good, bring the other knee in toward your chest. And that will accentuate that stretch here on the right side. Maybe we're going to lift that leg up. We're still drawing toward the midline. Maybe tuck your shoulders a bit. And then release. And let's do the other side. Adjust again if you need to. So I need to move my block a little more toward my tailbone, and then left leg out. Stay on that midline. We're not wobbling to the side. And then right knee in and extend that leg up. Hold for a few breaths. Keep tipping the tailbone up a little bit. Good, and release. Both feet flat. Okay. So we're going to come down. If your block was on setting 2, go to setting 1. And then we're going to come off completely. Slide the block out and slowly lower back down. Okay, bring your arms in like a robot. So your elbows are close in, your palms face each other. Tuck the shoulder blades in a little bit. And then just like reverse table, we're going to be lifting the hips and pulling the feet towards us. So inhale, lift up maybe an inch or 2. Walk those shoulders in again. And then press down into your elbows, arms, feet. Lift your hips into your bridge. Walk those shoulders in again. Keep pressing into the elbows. I'm not going to clasp today because I'm really focusing on this lower body. And then I'm going to pull my feet toward me, lengthening the tail. Try not to pop the belly. Hold here, one more breath. Try not to splay your knees. And then as you come down, undo the shoulders a bit. Slowly release. One vertebra at a time. Coming down. Breathe into your abdomen. Let's do one more round of bridge pose. Elbows in, shoulders in, press into your feet, lift up, walking those shoulders in, pressing into the foundation, engaging those core muscles, lifting the tailbone, pull the feet towards you, and breathe. All right, undo those shoulders, and slowly coming down without a wobble, try to stay steady. Arms at your side, widen your feet and windshield wiper side to side. Roll all the way over to one side, and we're going to press up, coming into a seated posture. So in your seat, you might want a blanket for underneath the back of your hips, under your pelvis. Take your legs out straight. We'll do a seated twist here. So we're going to bring the right leg in, close to your sit bone, and then hug your shin. Flex that front foot, shoulders back and down. We're going to take that right foot, cross it over. If that doesn't feel accessible to you, stay here. Okay. Keep that left foot active, pull back on your shin, nice long spine. Take an inhale, exhale, squeeze and hollow into that low belly. Okay, now holding with your left hand, reach your right arm up nice and tall. And as you exhale, bring it back behind you onto the floor. Inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, turn to your right. Now you can stay here hugging that knee in, or some of you might reach that arm up, cross it. Now if I have to round to get there, I'm not going to go there. Inhale, exhale, lift into the low belly and turn from your rib cage and your shoulder girdle over toward that right side. Now create resistance by pressing your elbow and your leg into each other, your leg and shin into each other. And as you exhale, find that lift. Let that left leg shoot forward a little bit, and that might help you turn. Good. Inhale and unwind back to center and extend that leg. Okay, pause, have a breath. And then let's try the other side. So bring that left foot in, close in towards your sit bone. Hug the shin back. Shoulders back, extend through the crown of your head. Good, now from here, right hand wraps around. Inhale, left arm up, come into your twist. So we inhale to lift up, and then exhale, tone that low belly and turn. So that toning of the belly helps stabilize our hips and our pelvis. The twist is coming from our rib cage and our shoulders. And then I'm letting my right leg shoot forward. Ooh, forgot to cross over. So cross over if you have it. And breathe here. So I'm letting that right leg shoot forward and then turning my left rib cage back. Create those points of resistance between your feet. Maybe cross the elbow. Breathing here. So if we don't engage that low belly, chances are we tend to round and drop into our spine here, and then not so healthy on our disc to be doing this twist. All right, inhale, unwind back to the center, uncross your legs. Okay, so an active Paschimottanasana, forward bend. We're going to work with the core muscle to see how that affects a forward bend. We're going to bend the knees a little bit so we can really lift out of our hip creases, really lengthen here. Inhale the arms up, palms face in. Next inhale, reach higher, pull your heels towards you to activate your leg muscles, and then exhale, hinge and come forward. Hands can rest, shins, ankles, or feet. Okay. Now we're going to work with that, engaging the back chain of the body on the inhale, and then exhale, softening. So inhale, pull back on your heels, pull back with your chest, find a back bend, a cobra in your chest. And then exhale, come down, and as you exhale, squeeze into those lower belly muscles. So you feel like you're opening your back. Good, inhale, come up. We're opening the front, arch your back. I'm going to go in a side view. Exhale, fold, and engage those muscles. Just so you might have a different view here. Okay. Inhale, pull back, arch, curl up. Exhale, fold, squeeze into those belly muscles. Now if that's going well, straighten your legs more here. You can go all the way straight if you wish, but try not to like jam into your knee joints. Inhale, lift the knees a little bit. Arch the back, curl up. Exhale, reach forward and down, and then pull in those belly muscles. So do that 2 more rounds, and I want you to feel like your muscles of your torso are rolling in towards center. Okay, there's this line here, the linea alba. We're drawing toward that as if we could curl and roll our muscles inward. At the same time, we're zippering up. Let's do 1 more round. So this is a very active forward fold. Now we're going to relax it. So we did the hard work. Now let yourself soften. Let your spine round. Let your arms relax. Let your head be heavy. Of course, if this is not feeling good in your hamstrings or your back, bend your knees again and just wrap your arms underneath your legs. Those of you who are okay, full Paschimottanasana in a more relaxed manner. Now to come out, we're going to first engage those muscles again, reach the chest forward, hands to hips, root the hips down, and carefully come up. Good, okay. So now we're going to come onto our backs and finish cooling it down. So you might want your blanket underneath your head. Bring your knees into your chest now and just rock a little bit across your lower back. And then hands on your knees. Bring your knees away, out to each side and back to center. So we're kind of making like a figure 8 with our knees. Just to loosen things up where we were engaging. Now go the opposite direction. So even though we were focused on core, our inner thighs and outer hips were also working for us. In addition to our low belly, we might be also feeling this in our low back if our low belly muscles are not as strong. And then hug in one more time. We're going to lift the head, chest, and shoulders, little ball. And then come back down, feet onto the ground. Cross your right leg over your left leg, like you're sitting in a chair. Offset your hips to the right, and then drop your knees over to the left into a twist with the legs entwined. If that's too much, stack the knees up. Maybe look over your right shoulder, letting that right rib cage drop to the ground. And a nice stretch for me here along the hip, the low back, and the outer leg. And you might be different. You might be feeling it in other areas. Come back to center. Very mindfully. Even out. Cross the left leg over the right leg. Shift your hips to the left, little offset, and then drop your knees over to the right. I like to use my right hand to pin it down, and then look left. And then I'm going to bring hand to the rib cage. Let that rib cage drop toward the left. inhale, exhale yourself back to the center. And we'll bring those knees in one more time. Let's take a happy baby, either hugging behind your knees, holding ankles, or holding feet. And a little gentle rock, or you could be still if you wish. If you don't like happy baby, just another knee hug is also a choice. And then we'll hug in one more time. For Shavasana, I would recommend supporting the backs of your knees with a rolled blanket, or you could do a bound angle. Feet together, knees apart, so we have spaciousness here in the low belly. If you're doing a bound angle, you could take your blocks and place them underneath your legs for a little support. I like to kind of angle the block so that it's the softer side, like not a corner on my body, like the nice flat side. So that's an option. Or take a blanket and roll it up. So I'm keeping one for under my head. You can take another blanket. I'm just going to grab my little skinny bolster for under my knees. So if you want, you can use a blanket instead or some pillows. And then find a little length in the low back. Maybe shake out your legs a little bit, jiggle them out. Coming to rest here. Breathing now into this whole area of your belly. We're actually going to just do a little belly massage. Take your hand and go in a circle. The whole area inside the rib cage and the pelvic bones. So that's the circle you'll trace. It's feeling like you're relaxing, soothing, quieting the belly. Going in a clockwise direction. Now start to come smaller, so you're halfway in between. And now smaller still, circling right around the navel. And smaller still, right over the navel. And now going bigger again, soothing the belly, around the navel. Bigger still. And then as big as right inside those bones. And then release. Arms at your side. Welcoming the breath into a softer belly now. Remember all those strings that we're drawing towards center. Imagine that all those strings now were just released. We cut those strings and we can now relax and broaden and soften the abdomen. And as you breathe, even let your belly inflate now. So do all this pulling down, let your belly relax again. You just created strength from the inside out. While it may be nice to have that external looking six-pack abdominals, the true strength lies deeper within. So rather than focus on superficial appearances, focus on what creates strength for you from the inside out. Take a few more minutes to rest, relaxing the belly with every breath. worked on today is the home of our third chakra, second and third chakra, also home of the pitta dosha in our bodies, so our fire element. When we work on creating strength and stability in this area, it helps to balance out this area of the third chakra so that we feel empowered but not overbearing. So we feel strong but not to the point where we need to control others. We feel empowered. We feel that that strength comes from within, not from other outside sources, right? We're not looking outside of ourselves to be complete. We feel confident, strong, empowered from within. So you are welcome to stay for a longer Shavasana. I'm going to close shortly for the sake of time on the videos. So if you'd like to stay longer, go ahead and do so as we close. Those of you who would like to come back up to a seated position can slowly transition by moving fingers and toes, deepening your breath. Taking your time, and when you're ready, you'll roll to your side and come on up to a seated posture. Sitting up as tall as you can. Noticing that as we lift the ribcage away from the pelvis, we naturally have more tone in the core. When we collapse, we lose that tone in the core. So keep your ribcage lifting, your chest lifting, your sit bones and your tailbone anchoring down. And then lift the back of your skull for that slight extra bit of lift. For me, I feel it right here below my solar plexus when I lift the back of my skull. Breathing into a soft belly though, so we're lifting to create that length, but we're not creating that tightness that we did earlier. Let's take 3 more breaths into the belly. If you're on your back, you can do so there. Great. If you are staying in Shavasana, stay there. If you're closing with me, we'll bring the hands together in front of your heart space. We'll take a deep breath in, and as we exhale, bow the head toward the heart and the hands. We'll close our practice. Thank you everyone for your hard work. Namaste. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for practicing with me.